I just passed another $200,000 FTMO challenge. According to Chuck, he wants to see a breakdown of my trades. Let's go ahead and get started with a trade breakdown, and then I'll go over to the general strategy that I was using to pass the FTMO challenge. In order to understand the trades that we'll be looking at, you have to know what the trades are, of course. So on the screen right now, we can see every single trade that was taken on my account during the challenge. Now, the reason why I say it like that rather than just trades that I took is because I didn't take all these trades. I was using an EA for the first part.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
That was the initial intention of this account. I was planning on running this account to show if an EA was good or not. And that ended up doing pretty decently. It did fairly well. It ended up making quite a bit. However, the huge majority of the money on this was actually made from me manual trading, excuse me, not testing. So wherever it says USD/JPY, that's going to be the bot trading. Wherever it says an index, excuse me, that's going to be myself trading. So that's the US 500, that's the EU 50, and the US 100. So there's those three different instruments are the ones that I use to manually trade and pass this. And every single one of those are ones that I did myself. So we're going to be looking at, of course, the huge one on here, which is the US 100 trade, which made almost $16,000. If it did make $16,000, that would be 8% gain on account. Because again, it's a $200,000 challenge. You have to make 10% in order to pass in total. So the other trades definitely did help. I definitely am not knocking the EA results. The EA's results were positive, so that's pretty cool that I was able to do this. In total, we're 5 days in the challenge so far, so still need some minimum trades. This top one here was completely unnecessary. I'm still past the required amount of profit, and this trade on here was actually just an accident. It ended up being okay anyways. I ended up closing it early. I think this trade would have been profitable, but I wanted to just take the automatic win, which is why I took a loss on that one, even though I was trading manually. Besides that trade, which again was a mistake, you can count that against me if you like.
Strike one!
We had 4 different manual trade wins, which is super awesome to see. So 4 out of 4 on the intentional ones, and that one I closed just because we already hit the profit target, and that was an accidental trade in the first place. It was just a limit order that I wasn't sure if this one was going to win all the way. It won faster than I was expecting. I'll show that on the chart right now. All right, so before we talk about the huge NAS trade, I first want to talk about the first trade that I manually took. And now this was a trade on the SP500, and this was a trade that I found because of Bearwave. So Bearwave is another YouTuber. I highly recommend checking out his channel. He's also a mentor within VVS Academy. One of the top links in the description below if you're interested in joining with VVS Academy. Also free Discord. He posted this trade in the Discord, not for here specifically, but actually for the true recent low on the SP500. So this low over here. He called out a trade for this low over here based off of Elliott wave theory, which I am also quite a fan of. So I was looking at his analysis, and by the way, he's such a fantastic trader. I was looking at it really quickly because I trust his analysis so much. I was looking at it, and I wanted to get in this. Unfortunately, I missed the perfect exit. So because I know that risk-reward ratios are so important, I wanted to get on a trade in the future. Because when I was looking at the chart, it was already up a little higher. I wanted to get into the trade when the price was on a pullback and have a smaller stop loss distance. So this was the trade I was looking at. I was looking at the SP500. I entered right about here. It was on the 6th, so I believe it was here. And my stop loss, I believe, was around this midpoint around here. So it did come pretty close to my stop loss. I was using smart money concepts for the stop loss. I was combining the Elliott wave theory with the smart money concepts to conjoin them together for this particular trade. And by combining these trades, I was able to use a stop loss with smart money concepts and a take profit with Elliott wave theory. So Elliott wave theory is fantastic for knowing the overall size of the trade. So I was estimating that the trade should finish around this area, and that was mostly due to me, first of all, watching the trade. So I was watching and seeing how the waves were forming. I thought that this might have been an entire wave count, even though it's super small. I think perhaps it is still a little early to call it, but I do think this might have actually been an entire wave count there. So this was actually a good estimation. Then I thought that the chart was ending very soon when the chart reached up here. So I was looking for an exit because of the Elliott wave theory. and because I was following the sub patterns within the chart. So that's the main reason why I was looking for that particular area for this particular chart. But what was the big trade? What was the one that made nearly $16,000? Pretty much won the entire challenge. So moving over to the NAS chart, we're now on the NAS chart here, and this was the exact trade that I took. I did have a sell limit here, so I'm pretty confident that's exactly where I was buying in. And I know where my stop loss was because it was very, very much Elliott wave rule based. So the Elliott wave rule in this case, I'll go ahead and show you on the chart. I had a downward 5-wave structure on the chart here, and it went a little something like this. Roughly. I might have had a little bit of a different markup at the time, but I know I have my 1 wave around this area. So according to the rules of Elliott wave theory, it's extremely, extremely unlikely, if not even impossible, depending on which wave you're in. Usually it is one of the main rules that the 4 cannot cross into the territory of the 1. So I put my stop loss in the territory of the 1, as you're supposed to do with Elliott wave theory. So I ended up estimating where I was going to enter this trade. And again, I used smart money for that exact estimation. It was not perfect. That's absolutely fine in this particular case. The stop loss was still extremely, extremely small. And as you can see right away, very, very quickly, the NAS ended up going extremely in my favor in the direction I wanted to, going down extremely quickly, and I was able to leverage this one properly, where I was able to make enough to pass the rest of the challenge.
That was a test, and you've passed.
And I basically put my take profit, again using again another idea borrowing from smart money concepts, where we had a double low here, and that basically makes a magnet effect where the price is attracted to go beneath the double bottoms when it becomes close, especially when moving so fast like this. That was a fantastic example of that. So I was able to put my stop loss just a little below there to secure this trade, and that ultimately led the trade and the account to a win.
I'm gonna go to Disney World.
All right, now I want to talk more about my general strategy for passing FTMO, what my approach was in the very first place. So as I said in the very beginning of the video, I wasn't actually intending to trade this account manually. I was using this account in order to pass with an EA, but there was a complication that came up with this EA. The main reason why I stopped using the EA was actually not because it wasn't profitable. In fact, quite the opposite. It was doing quite well. The main reason was actually because I got a scam warning from a Forex broker. So this broker ended up sending this email to me that was this long list of reasons and scams that this EA was using. So the broker sent me this whole thing, also with some screenshots of some scam support, and this was from the same people that ended up making this EA. So because of that, I ended up taking down the video that I previously had on this channel, and I also stopped running the EA on that one again. Future Blake here, you can probably tell because I'm wearing a different shirt. I had to interrupt because I have been reaching out and I've been talking to the owner of this EA, the creator of this EA, and I wanted to get his opinion as well. I didn't want to just show one side of it, showing only what Pax said. So I did ask Andy, who is the founder of the creator of this EA, and he was basically explaining that I can still be running the EAs and that I should take down the video. Of course, I had already taken down the video before he said that, and then I let him know about the email from Pax, and he said, "Lol, yes, it's all BS. It's just a witch hunt. Pax don't like my EA because it makes money, and they are B-book and are running out of money to pay clients. They scammed me for 14K. And of course, this was very counter to what Pax was saying. So there's definitely a discrepancy here between the two parties involved. So I want to present both parties and not just show the one, which is why I wanted to show you guys this little interjection here. So sorry about that. We can formulate your own opinions on this whole situation, and we can go back to the old one. Again, I haven't had any bad experience with this particular individual. In fact, I got on the phone with him a couple weeks ago, and he was a fantastic guy to be around. He was very enjoyable to talk to, and the EA was working pretty well. So I'm not quite sure how these people have been getting scammed. I do see the emails, of course, but other than that, I'm not quite sure the exact details. I definitely don't feel like I was scammed personally, but at the same time, I do have to look out for everyone's best interest. So because I wasn't going to use an EA anyways, I know that I could trade even better than an EA, so I decided to take control of the account, and I wanted to win pretty much as soon as possible. So then I took the account under my own, and I started trading from and turning off of the EA, basically, and that's how I ended up getting to where we are now. Now heading back over to FTMO's dashboard, as you can see, probably the first thing that catches your eye is the minimum trading days. FTMO still has their minimum trading rule. They have not yet followed in 5%ers footsteps. 5%ers was the first person in the Forex community to recently drop the minimum trading days rules. There's also some other prop firms out there that have also copied the 5%ers and also done the same thing. So props to them for that. But FTMO is not one of them as of yet. For now, they still have the 10 minimum trading days. So I will be having to trade some minimum lot size rules. Again, I think this rule is pretty silly in my opinion. I think a lot of people know about the workaround at this point, so it doesn't really show anything, doesn't really show you if I'm a better trader or not, just because I can trade 0.01s and risk just a small amount of my account. I can even lose the rest of the trades at this point because they have gotten rid of the minimum positive trade requirement rule. So I don't have that anymore, but they do have the minimum size rule, so I can even lose 4 more trades and I'll still end up passing this account as long as they are with 0.01s and are very, very small losses. Again, I plan on winning the trades, but just putting that out there just to show why I'm saying that I've already won, even though there's more. So also, as any long-time subscriber knows, I am a huge fan of CTrader, but as you can see over here on the right, I did use the platform MT4 for this particular challenge, and the main reason for that, again, was because this was initially intended for trading with an MT4 EA. So the MT4 EA would not have worked if I used a CTrader account. Of course, you can't do that. You have to have MT4 if you want to run an MT4 EA. Another thing that another person noticed in my community post earlier is that my maximum total loss, or just maximum loss in this case, is smaller, is only $440, than my maximum daily loss. So the maximum daily loss is only $1,000, which, by the way, that's going to equate to 0.5, not 5, but 0.5% total maximum daily loss. That's the number you should really use. The other number here is the maximum total loss from the beginning. So as you can see my account on here, it starts at 0, of course, as all accounts do, and it only really goes up. It has one small little dip below 0 of minus $50. The reason why it's not only minus $50 is, of course, FTMO uses equity and not balance. So I had a balance of minus 50 on at the worst time. Again, that's due to the EA. Of course, the EA ended up making profit back, so there's no problem there. Not saying the EA is bad. Again, the EA was ended up being profitable in the end. But it did have that temporary minus 50 point. And so because of that, it had a small dip underneath, but my biggest total drawdown was not at the beginning. It was actually somewhere in the middle. So actually, once I end up getting the account a little higher, and then a day changed, and then I had a little bit of a drawdown. So the drawdown was really very, very small. The maximum total drawdown, of course, like I already said, is 0.5%, and the maximum total loss is a little bit less than 0.25, which is extremely small. So I'm quite impressed by these statistics. I think they're extremely good. To have less than 1% total risk even used is quite impressive. So in other words, or not less, it was 1% total used and then 1% from the beginning. So theoretically, this same exact trades could have passed almost any prop firm out there if they're scaled properly. So again, this was a $200,000 challenge, which is why those numbers work out the way they do. There is a little bit of a glitch on here on the dashboard. It does only show 3 days. Of course, I did trade 6 so far, 5 to actually pass, and the 1 losing trade. Again, that losing trade was mostly just put in place in case the other one doesn't win, but I already won in the first place, so I didn't even need to use it. That's why I ended up taking out a little early with a small loss with that other one. So that being said, that is the main way that I passed this challenge. I used 44.25 lots, and I do appreciate that FTMO fixed the lots now. They used to show lots where 1.0 on certain indices were actually only one single entry. So now they don't do that anymore, which I really, really appreciate. Now it's 0.1 is one single entry. So basically whenever it says 8.8 lots, that's really 88 entries on the NAS or on the SP500. And if it says 4.4, that's going to be 44 entries on the US 100. If you're not sure what that means, you really need to join my Discord server. My Discord server is free. It's also in the top of the description. We talk about all this kind of stuff, prop firms mostly related in my channel. There's also a couple other sub channels there for talking more about smart money, as well as Elliott Wave. We have all those channels that are free, and also the better ones are also there for the members, of course. So feel free to check it out. Check the top link in the description if you're interested in joining my mentorship and being able to trade with me and Barrett, as well as Smart Money Source, who help me with these trades. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.